There's winners and losers. I'm a chooser, how I pick my friends. Some drinkers call us down and out, but the losers win again.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode, the first episode of 2022 with the Losers Win Again. I am your host, Jacob Brown, and we are back, guys, finally. There's been a lot of loopholes. Me finally trying to get this channel back up and going. Had some personal issues, had some technical issues, but it seems like we're right back on the right track. And what a perfect day to start this venture with some big breaking news. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what was going on with me. Little overview of the regular season and what my plans are for this offseason and next football season. Guys, I'm going to be pushing a lot of content out this year. Off-season content all year long. I'll be launching my Patreon, which is very competitive prices compared to competitors out there. I'm going to be providing Bestball Rankings, no regular style season fantasy football rankings. We're just strictly focusing on best ball content. If you're not familiar with best ball, I'll be coming out with a video on that shortly. It's pretty exciting, and I hope I get some guys along with me, guys and girls, to come subscribe to the Patreon. Very competitive prices. And also, I'll be dropping some content on Instagram. I'll be dropping content on YouTube. I just really want to get involved early on this off season. We'll be covering best ball rankings. We'll be covering just news, breaking news, just like today's. And we will be just discussing fantasy outlets on each and every team at the appropriate time. And other than that, I'm glad to be back. Great day to be back. We're going to be breaking down the news of the day. Tom Brady has retired. Never really knew when this day was going to come, but it has finally came, and honestly, I'm a little bit speechless. The loss of the Rams was very surprising. And when Tom Brady loses, guys, he usually just picks himself up, dusts himself off, gets ready for the next season. But this definitely had a different feel. And the media was spot on this one this time. But, I mean, everyone else is going to talk about the impact Tom Brady had on the game and all that, and I respect that. But I'm a fantasy football player at heart, and Tampa Bay is not my favorite team, and Tom Brady is not my favorite player. So I'm really here to talk about the impact Tom Brady's leaving is going to have on this team, and what I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' next moves are going to be, and just the fantasy impact it's going to have on some of the top players, guys like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, just of that nature. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Now that Tom Brady's gone, we really got to look at this team's infrastructure and They got some free agents this offseason, and I just don't know how many of them will be coming back. Let's just name a couple here. Chris Godwin. He's an unrestricted free agent. Someone that's been with the team for quite a while. He's just got injured, so his value is going to be down a little bit in the market. Jason Pierre-Paul, another guy I could easily see retiring. He's got his ring now. He's got another ring now. And he's just at the twilight of his career. You got a center like Ryan Jensen. I don't see him coming back now that Brady's gone. He can definitely get offered a lot of money somewhere else. The Dominican Sue, he's another guy I could easily see retiring. And you also got Rob Gronkowski. I mean, if he really just came back to play with Tom Brady, more than likely, he's going to be gone this offseason. Probably retiring as well. Leonard Fournette, another guy, probably going to be out. Probably going to get the big money contract he's been looking for. He took a pay cut to come back and play with the Bucs. I really don't see him staying. And that just leads you to wonder if this team is going to be anywhere near what they were last year. And I got some theories about what kind of direction they're going to be going. This leads me to my next theory. The Tampa Bay Bucs are going to be in a full string rebuild. And I think the next big move we're going to hear about is Bruce Arians being fired or resigning or retiring from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's not be too kind here. I mean, look, Bruce Arians did cause a lot of these problems that Tampa Bay had this season. Whether you're on Antonio Brown's side or if you're on the Buccaneers side in this one. But he mishandled Antonio Brown's situation. He had the situation with being fined for hitting a player, but he didn't really hit a player, in my opinion. He himself has caused a lot of distractions. Last year, it worked in his favor. I mean, he had the press conferences where he was calling out Tom Brady and the press conferences. But this year was just a different feel. And I think he was one of the main reasons this team spiraled out of control towards the end of the year. But all in all, I mean, you got a guy like Todd Bowles and Brian Leftwich who are out on the market. Why don't you let Bruce Arians retire, resign? He finally got his Super Bowl. He finally got his shot in the spotlight. So why don't the Bucs just hire Leftwich or Bowles and see what they can do with this team in the future? It really looks like Tampa Bay is moving to the future, rebuilding this team. They're going to be getting rid of a lot of dead cap, a lot of dead weight. And I think that's the right move at this point in time. But there's also a couple more theories I want to throw at you guys. Could we see Tom Brady be replaced by Aaron Rodgers? I know we just talked about Tampa Bay rebuilding, which is most likely the logical way to go about looking at this situation. But if Bruce Arians and Tampa Bay management and owner think, hey, we still got a pretty good roster, we can make one more big run at this, who's to say they would not go after Aaron Rodgers to keep this thing going? I don't think Green Bay is going to trade Aaron to a NFC team, but this would be a really big deal if Tampa Bay could get Aaron Rodgers to Tampa Bay. Look, this offseason is going to be the offseason of the quarterbacks. There's so many teams we've got to discuss about which quarterback's going where. Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson. Just to name a few off the top of my head. There's so many to talk about. I've even recently heard Matt Ryan might be on the market this offseason. Matt Ryan could easily be a good placeholder in this Tampa Bay offense. But I think it would be pretty interesting to see Aaron Rodgers replace Tom Brady. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'd like to see it. But here's a couple more quarterbacks I got in mind that you might be surprised about. Okay, so now I know y'all are probably wondering, who in the hell is this guy? Kyle Trask was he was technically the third string quarterback last year, but they drafted him the year Tom Brady came to the Bucs that offseason. And from what I've heard, he's looked pretty good. Decent looking in the preseason with the time that he had. He could very well be the starter next year. And I would especially believe he has an opportunity if Arians stays as the head coach or if Leftwich becomes the head coach, because it just seems like he had a good rapport with Brady. Seemed like he paid attention from what I've heard. I mean, there's not a lot of Kyle Trask talk going on, but this is the NFL offseason, so talks like this will be had. But quite honestly, if you can't get, for instance, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, some of the big names, Deshaun Watson, if you can't get any of those guys, I would really consider just giving this guy a shot for one season. Especially if you're in rebuild mode, you need to see what you drafted. This, honestly, as of right now, seems like the most logical decision. But, I mean, we got weeks or almost a month until free agency, and we got a couple months before the draft. So this conversation could change 100% before any real decisions are being made. But not to sound corny, I think Trask is up for the task. And I think he will be definitely a guy that will take advantage of an opportunity. And with that receiving core, it's really hard to make a quarterback look bad. I mean, come on. Jameis Winston, 3 years ago, threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Mr. 30 for 30. 5,000 plus yards. Tom Brady takes his receiving core to the Super Bowl and this year to the playoffs. I really think Kyle Trask has a good shot at this. And while I think he has a good shot at this and he's the most logical option as of right now, I still got a couple guys that might make a little sense, and we'll talk about it. Next on this list, honestly, now that I'm looking at it a lot closer, just makes a lot of sense. For both sides. Deshaun Watson. We still don't quite know what the punishments are going to be by the league. But could the Tampa Bay Buccaneers trade for Deshaun Watson? Think about it. In the Aaron Rodgers segment we just had, we talked about the Bucs felt like they still had a roster that could go and win a Super Bowl, that all they needed was a quarterback. Who better to replace Tom Brady than a young guy like Deshaun Watson? Look, barring what he didn't do, we really don't know until we see him in court and hear what he has to say about it. And both sides need to be heard. The woman's side, man's side, both sides need to be heard under a court of law. But if he could get past that, and we're just talking strictly football here, this would be an amazing acquisition for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think it would put them right back in the conversation of Super Bowl champions. Would it happen? I don't know. If Bruce Arians is still the head coach of this team, I don't see it happening. I could see Brian Leftwich taking a shot on Deshaun Watson. I could see Todd Bowles taking a shot on Deshaun Watson. But look, if they really think they got the roster to get this team back to the Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson, I think they should take it. I think they should at least make a call. I don't know what all they would have to give up, but I'm sure they could figure a way out to do it. And I think this would be one of the most exciting trades or acquisitions that could definitely make this offseason real appealing. Guys, there's so many quarterbacks available this offseason. I want to go over a couple more here, but this one would be very interesting, and I could definitely see it happening depending on certain situations that need to be taken care of, like who's going to be the head coach. I really don't think Arians would take on Deshaun Watson's contract, or would he really want to coach him? I don't think he would. But if you put Leftwich in there, or if you put Todd Bowles in there, I think that would be a different story. But there's two more quarterbacks I want to discuss real quickly, and I think these will be fairly interesting. Now, when you look at this one, you might think this is a little far-fetched, and it very well could be. But could Jameis Winston return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, look, I know him and Arians didn't get on the right foot, but I really do feel like Winston proved a lot in New Orleans in the time that he got to play. He looked a lot more poised. He looked a lot more in control of the football. I could definitely see a scenario where Jameis Winston could return to the Tampa Bay Bucs, just off the fact that when a legendary Hall of Fame player leaves the team, especially a quarterback, players usually fall off a bit. Teams usually fall off a bit. And a lot of players don't want to go play for said team. And if, like we were talking about earlier with Kyle Trask, if Kyle Trask isn't what Tampa Bay thought he was, and they can't get a quarterback in the room, can't get Aaron Rodgers, can't get Deshaun Watson, do you sign Jameis Winston? I know he just came off an injury. Who knows how long it will take him to recover, if he will ever be the same. It was a season-ending injury. That's something we got to look for later on, but the Saints don't want to bring Winston back. They want to go in a different direction. Who's to say Jameis Winston can't have a fresh start in Tampa Bay? I'd like to see it. I think it'd be very entertaining, especially if they can't get any of the players I've mentioned or anyone else that's going to be in this conversation. If they can't get any of those guys, I really like what Jameis Winston has to offer. He's already got rapport with Mike Evans. He's already got rapport with Chris Godwin. I think he played with Leftwich for a year, possibly. And if Bruce Arians decides to stay and Winston's their guy, I don't see a reason why those two can't bury the hatchet, come for Bradys Bros, and have a fresh start. Definitely something to keep an eye on. Definitely something that I would like to see. I really think this is going to be a big story. Sometime this offseason, when Tampa Bay lands a quarterback or decides to name a quarterback as their starter, I could definitely see Winston being available on the open market. With the injury, teams are going to want to pay him less. And I could definitely see him going somewhere where he knows the system, and this would be a perfect spot for him. And last, but definitely not least, could Andrew Luck return to the NFL? And if he did, could he play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Former offensive coordinator, interim coach Bruce Arians. He helped this guy develop as a pro, and I think Luck could return that favor by joining the Bucs. Look, like I've said earlier in this video, this receiving core is stacked. Godwin, Evans. I think Gronk could stay if Luck came back. But even then, Luck makes decent tight ends great. Like, Brake could have a decent year. O.J. Howard could have that breakout year everybody's been waiting for with a guy like Luck at the helm. But the question is does Luck want to play? We don't know. He's definitely not in the shape to play. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight with his time away from the league. But that would be the big question. Does he want to play still? Would he come to Tampa Bay? I'm not sure what his contract situation is with the Colts, but I could definitely see that being an opportunity. But you got to think about it like this as well. If he didn't want to play for a team of the caliber of the Colts, why would he want to play for Tampa Bay? Other than the fact that they've been to the Super Bowl recently and they do have a pretty decent roster, and if management feels like they can hold that roster up to Luck, that could be a good case. But the way that offensive line looked against the Rams, I don't know if Luck would want to come back and play, to be honest. I mean, Tom Brady got hit a lot in that game. This is probably the longest shot out of all the names I've mentioned. There's still plenty of names I could have mentioned, like we discussed before, Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan. Those are two guys that are in the NFC, and I doubt that their respective teams would trade them to an NFC foe. Personally, I think the Deshaun Watson one is the most interesting one, just due to the fact he's on an AFC team, and if the Texans wanted to trade him to a team in the NFC, I believe they would consider Tampa. But all in all, it's just great to think about these things and what the implications could be if these things happen. But as of right now, Kyle Trask looks like the guy, unless Tampa Bay could come out and get one of these big name free agents. But that'll pretty much do it for me, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to visit my Patreon account. Go to the Patreon app. My name is The Losers Win Again. I'll be making a video discussing everything I will be offering in this off-season bundle. And as of right now, just like and subscribe. Comment in the comment section if you think there's a name that I left out that no one's talking about. Go ahead and put it out there. I'd love to see what you guys think. And we'll see you next time here on the Losers Win Again channel. Thanks. Peace.